We're going to need another Great Flood Noah's Ark if Dricus Du Plessis beats Alex Pereira. I mean, they're flirting back and forth. Alex said, I'm going to come down to fight at 185 again. And Dricus said, don't worry about it. I'm going up to 205 to fight. He's beat Robert Whittaker, Sean Strickland, and Israel Adesanya in a row last night, UFC 305. It's incredible, this run he's on. Dricus Du Plessis is showing that you don't have to be the most technical. Robert Whittaker, Israel Adesanya, those two guys, way more technical than Dricus Du Plessis. What he's showing, though, is you don't need that all the time. Welcome to the Dricus era, where you don't have to be the best at something. What he is the best at, though, is finding ways to win. And I'd argue that that might be the most important thing in mixed martial arts, especially at high levels. Finding ways to win, because that's important on every single other sport in the world. Why wouldn't it be important here once we actually know what we're doing, right? It's crazy, man. It is absolutely crazy, because there was no area except for the wrestling. And even then, Israel Adesanya did a great job of stifling Dricus Du Plessis' offense when he was put on the ground. And we've known for a long time that Israel Adesanya has very good takedown defense. We've known this. But man, what happened here? Dricus Du Plessis just out-toughed Israel Adesanya. And what's crazy about it is the fact that Dricus Du Plessis hasn't been in as many 5-round fights as Izzy. Think about this for a second. Israel Adesanya came onto the scene. We knew he was good, from his kickboxing stuff. He fought Kelvin Gastelum, and we're, the whole moment, I'm ready to die in here. I'm willing to die for this, or whatever he said. So we've watched Israel Adesanya go 5 rounds. Let's be real. Israel Adesanya hasn't been exciting every single fight. He's gone 5 rounds plenty of times. The guy knows what he's doing, and he's been 5 rounds with adversity. It's just absolutely insane what he's been able to do. It's just becoming what he is. Gotta adjust my camera, guys. So the fact that Dricus Du Plessis came out and was like, hey, I'm good, I got this. Yeah, he did what he had to do. He did what he had to do. He went in there, he banged him out in his hometown, in his backyard. Now, Dricus didn't look great the entire fight. He looked silly at sometimes, sure, where he's swinging and missing and running off wildly. But that's Dricus Du Plessis. We've seen that before in him. And in the pre-episode, me and Dan talked about it, and we talked about how this is the type of fight that, Dricus can win, but it's also the type of fight where Israel Adesanya can shine, and he did. I thought, a lot of people was like, Izzy looks slow. They're making excuses. Like, Izzy looked fantastic compared to everything he's done recently. This has been a higher volume Adesanya than we've ever seen. But I said it, and I said it after the first round. Here's the tweet right here. I said, Israel Adesanya is leaving with his chin high. I wouldn't be surprised if he dominates the fight and Dricus Du Plessis finds it. He found it. Dricus Du Plessis found the chin of Izzy. It was crazy, too, because it was a 1-1-2. Kind of like what Strickland called him with a 1-2. And this was against the fence. He's been knocked out, or knocked down. Strickland didn't knock him out. Neither did Du Plessis, honestly. But he's been hurt 3 times against the fence. And he knocked out Pereira once. But 1 for 4. Alex Pereira caught him with a left hook, leaping that way. Hands down, chin up. Sean Strickland, 1-2 down the pipe. And now Dricus Du Plessis, 1-1-2, catches him, and sayonara, sucker. So, props to Dricus to know, because I do believe he knew this. I do believe he knew that, hey, if Israel Adesanya is against the fence, Dricus Du Plessis needs to go. I think Dricus game plan for that. And we know he likes to back himself up to the fence. We know this. So now we have Dricus Du Plessis, who's the champion, and he's like, I don't want to say he's the worst champion, but he's not the prettiest at all. But man, is he good at finding ways to win. Remember, Darren Till was beating him up. Forgot about that before he, choked Darren Till out. And Darren Till gave him some little bit of advice. And we didn't see him take it. And Dricus, I don't know if he would have worked with it, I do like the fact that we did get to see a lot of the low kick from Dricus Du Plessis. He has a really good low kick. He has a good jab. And we saw the low kick work from Alex Pereira. Now, granted, Alex Pereira's low kick's definitely way more devastating, sure. But Dricus read that, Alex, I'm going after his leg. Alex hit his leg. I'm going after it too. So I like it. I like what I saw from Dricus. As for what's next, let's see. I've got the rankings. Let's go to Tapology here. I should have had the page pulled up. Let's go to Dricus, and we'll go to the Tapology's middleweight rank. I like Tapology's middleweight rankings because it shows you who has fights booked and stuff. So, current best middleweight MMA fighter. You got Sean Strickland, who's the rematch everybody's talking about next. And then everybody's also talking about him fighting Alex Pereira somewhere or another, either 85 or 205. So, we'll wait on that. Robert Whittaker and Khamzat Chimaev. The winner of that fight could very well get a title shot. You got Nasruddin Imavov and Brendan Allen fighting. Cannonier and Cal Baralho fight this weekend. Allen's fighting. So, yeah, look at this. Look, all of these right here. He's beat Strickland already. That's the probable next fight. Israel Adesanya, he literally just beat, so they won't fight again. Then the Whittaker, Imavov, Cannonier, Allen, Chimaev, they're all booked. We're going to put Vettori next? No. Costa, he's 1-4. Hermanson, blah, There's really not much for him at middleweight, but you've got Imavov and stuff, and you've got Chimaev who's, on the cusp if he beats Whittaker, if he fights Whittaker, actually. We don't know if Chimaev will fight Whittaker, right? So there's some people there, but if we're trying to keep Dricus Du Plessis busy, we're obviously going the Sean Strickland route. And I think that's really the only way to approach this thing. So, great performance from Dricus just by getting the rear naked choke, that, or the face, whatever they call it, rear naked choke, face crank, whatever they decided to go with. But I don't know, man. There's a lot that is left to be desired from Dricus Du Plessis, and it's easy to see why. He's the ugliest striker in the division. So we'll see. We'll see who's next for him. Israel Adesanya, though, is not over the hill. We did talk about it in our lead-up episode, talking about how maybe Izzy is over the hill, and maybe, he's his best days are behind him. He's slowing down. And all evidence is pointed to Israel Adesanya has actually been slowing down. His offense is lacking, all this and that. This fight was one of those fights that were it was an opportunity for Israel Adesanya to show up and show out. And he did that. He showed up, he showed out, and he had a really good fight. The judges had Dricus up 2-1. I don't know how they would have scored that last round before, Dricus hurt him. I felt like Adesanya was winning that fight. But he made some really good reads. He was aggressive. His footwork was great, but, it's easy to have your footwork shine against Dricus Du Plessis, somebody who, hasn't horrible footwork. Let's be real. And everybody's going to be, he's a kickboxing AME champion. That means nothing. Look at the guy fight. He doesn't pass the eye test. But he's such a good fighter. I don't want to take any credit away from him because, again, Whittaker, Strickland, Adesanya. That's the three he's beat. Israel looked great in this fight. And I think if you discount, say, Israel looked slow, he looked bad, he didn't, he's over the hill. If you say that about this fight, you're taking away from Dricus Du Plessis' performance. Israel Adesanya looked great. He made great reads. So let's nip that in the bud right now, chat, because that's it. If you think Izzy had a bad performance, get out of my video. I'll see you later. He looked good. Now, Dricus comes with that high guard. And we know the best part about the high guard is the uppercut up the middle. And Israel Adesanya found that. And he went to it over and over again. And he was hurting Du Plessis. It's just Dricus Du Plessis' head is made of adamantium. You know, he's basically Wolverine without the claws. Or he might have them, he just can't use them. You know, imagine him there with the claws. With Izzy, just it'd be a murder. Oh, no, we can't have that, right? We're a spectator sport. We're not a gladiator anymore. But seriously, like, Adesanya was hurting him, and his best work actually was to the body. Israel Adesanya's body work was fantastic. Mwah, magnifique. Beautiful. And I'm a fan of body work. I really am. I might be putting a little too much into it, sure. But what I liked from Adesanya's body work was the fact that he kept going to it, and it worked. It slowed down Dricus Du Plessis. You remember that third round? They were both very tired. Obviously, Du Plessis had the great second round of wrestling, which we're going to talk about Israel in a second. And then Du Plessis was also tired from wrestling. But Israel Adesanya said, I'm going to start going to the body. He had those two lead hooks, the straight to the body, the side kick to the body, or the front kick, not front kick, I'm sorry, the round kick to the body. He really, really had a good game plan lining up until he went against the fence. Strickland caught him against the fence, Pereira caught him against the fence, and now Du Plessis. It's crazy, right? I did think he was going to retire. I thought Israel Adesanya was going to be like, I'm done. UFC 305, that's the last. That's the last hurrah for me. Thank God he does not, because he looked very, very good. Now, like, when Dricus took him down, he did a good job of, fighting the hands. And when he shows, like, hey, I'm going to fight the hands, and if you let go, I'm getting up, that's really what allowed, or what prevented Dricus Du Plessis from getting off damage on the ground. He did manage to get some damage, but Adesanya did a good job of preventing it. He kept fighting the hands. He was against the fence, and when he did get up. Most time, I don't think the second round ended with him on top. If it did, still, I'm still impressed with how Israel Adesanya fought on the ground. So, where does he go from here? I don't know. I have a feeling UFC wanted to make Israel Adesanya versus Pereira 3 or 5, depending on if you watch kickboxing or not. At 205, if Israel won, you had champ versus champ. We've been talking about this for a while since I've been doing the podcast or the show. But now that's up in smoke. So Israel can go up to 205 and fight Magomed Ankalaev or Rakic or whoever wins that. And yeah, so sucks though, because that would have been great to see a trilogy for those two at 205. Kai Kara-France off Steve Erceg. Boom! He gave the man a chance. And you got to give all the respect in the world to Kai Kara-France. Steve Erceg was ranked 7th or 9th or something like that in the world. I got the rankings pulled up. Why don't we just look at it, huh? Yeah, let's see what I have on flyweight. Let's go up to the top. Flyweight. Kara-France is 4. Steve Erceg 7. So yeah, we got that. I love this new screen, guys. I love it. I love it. So he gave him a chance. He's like, hey, you just fought for the title. I know what the UFC's looking for. And Pantoja's beat everybody. He's beat me even. This is Kai Kara-France talking. He's beaten me even. So I'm going to fight the last title challenger, who happens to be 7th ranked Steve Erceg, and I'm going to off him. I'm going to just load my gun up, take him out back to the pasture, and doosh. And he did that. Erceg looked really good, had some great pivots, just a lot of the technical stuff that he does. But Kai Kara-France said, I got something for you. He said in the post-fight, he's setting up with the jab. He's trying to lull him into, the 2 comes after this, and then he's going to stop. And what happens is he starts out in orthodox, so left hand forward. Dominic Cruz made a big deal about this, so you'll know what he's talking about when I'm talking about when I say it. Hit 1, he comes over the top with a 2, and on that coming over the top with a 2, he steps through with his back foot. So he's coming forward, and now his left foot is in the rear and comes over the top. left hand. And that left hand dropped him. And it didn't take much after that. It didn't. Put him down. A little bit of ground and pound later, and it was a right call. And Usyk said it was a right call. Kai France knew it. Everybody likes to hate him because he goes like that, whatever that is. It's probably some Samoan or Islander thing that doesn't bother me. Whatever. But he's a good fighter and he's fun, man. And he's been on a really good run lately. Let's pull up the old web page again. Let's go over to Kai France and take a look at his recent run, because it's been top notch. UFC 305 right here. Kai France right here. 25-11. He's been around. So he lost to Albazi and Marino. So, ooh, man. I don't know if he deserves it off of one win. But he had those 3 back-to-back with Bontorin, Garbrandt, and Askarov. That Askarov win is his best win. But then he dropped the Marino fight, the liver kick, and then the split decision to Mir Albazi. What else is there at flyweight, though, for Pantoja? Like, go look at him. Go look at his record. He's already beat Usyk, Royval, Marino, Perez, Royval, Kopp. I wish Askarov was still around. That'd be nice. When did he beat Kai France? That was an exhibition. Because I was on top. Oh. Yeah, that's the one you got to go with next. He'll probably move up a spot to number 3 in the rankings. Which, I don't know. You can't really put him above Albazi. Although Albazi's out, so yeah, why not? And we've already fought 7th ranked Steve Usyk, so I mean, I don't hate it, you know. I really don't, but yeah. Kai France is just he's a chaotic, he's a violent fighter, and that makes a really fun fight, especially now for this point in time with Alejandro Pantoja, who's the champ at flyweight at 125. And he's 9-0 against everybody. And if you count, that's if you're counting the exhibition against Kai France. So he doesn't have an actual sanctioned fight because they tape delay the Ultimate Fighter, so they can't count him on the records, right? Yeah, I like that. That's got to be the fight you got to do. Honestly, that really is. That really is. I mean, not much to say about it. It was a short fight. Mateusz Gamrot fumbles. He fumbled the bag. He fought Dan Hooker, and unlike Kai France, Mateusz Gamrot gave Dan Hooker a shot, and Dan Hooker said, "We good." So now it's 2024, and the ghost of Dan Hooker, this dark Dan Hooker, is now going to be top 5. It's crazy. Crazy to think about, actually, because Gamrot, he's 24-3. He's lost some close fights. The Kuta de Ladzde fight, I believe. Yeah, and then he lost to Beneil Darius pretty one-sided. Jalen Turner barely lost to him. A lot of people thought he won. The leg injury against Rafael Fiziev, and then Dos Anjos. So that snapped that 3-fight winning streak in a possible good contender for Islam. Man, Dan Hooker, though, bro, he looked great. Like, just thinking about his performance, like, he's not as good as he was. That Poirier fight kind of changed how he fought. But Gamrot, we know what he's bringing to the table. It's a 1-2, and he's going to shoot an outside single. What Dan Hooker did was brilliant. I'm going to snap up this guillotine. Now, I feel like Dan Hooker's like the perfect kind of fighter to beat a Mateusz Gamrot, to where his grappling is very good. He's very confident. And he can defend himself. And he did. He defended himself all night, and he hurt Mateusz Gamrot all night. Gamrot had some great scrambles. We know Mateusz Gamrot had some great scrambles. But it was really, really fun to see Dan Hooker go out there, get the win, and just be in his element. Like, man, he's been through some tough times. I don't see them booking him versus Islam anytime soon. But, man, Gamrot really did fumble the bag here. This win was kind of like a stay busy fight. Again, circling back to the episode with Dan, we talked about how this is kind of a stay busy fight, you know. No, Dan Hooker said, "You're going to stay busy with these hands, boy. Defending this guillotine." Man, what a performance from Dan Hooker, though. Dan the Man Hooker. Dan the Hangman Hooker. Crazy. He's going to be top 5. Him and Poirier running back, maybe. That was a good banger of a fight. Dustin just said, he's not retiring. He wants one more. I can get behind that. So we'll see. Time will tell on that. So let's hop over here real quick. Let's see what else was on this card we could talk about. Tai Tuivasa and Jairzinho Rozenstruik was a terrible fight. Carlos Paredes knocked out Li Jingliang in round 2. Li's just spine injury. I have no real I really don't care to see him fight ever again. I don't think Li Jingliang needs to fight after the spine injury. Paredes though, man, if you couldn't tell, he likes Muay Thai. It's tattooed on his chest. He's got hands. He's got nukes for hands. So real fun fighter there. Walter Walker, he's the brother of Johnny Walker, tapped Junior Tafa with a heel hook. Tafa got all mad because he yelled. He didn't tap. And apparently yelling is a verbal tap, and he apparently didn't know that. Lame. Ricardo Ramos beat Josh Culibao. Kind of sad. I like Josh Culibao, but Ramos is fun. Casey O'Neill beat Luana Santos. Jack Jenkins knocked out Herbert Burns. Man, I like Herbert Burns. He looked real good coming in the UFC, but he's had a real tough time as of late. 4 straight, that's got to be it for him. He missed weight in Daniel Pineda, lost to Bill Algeo, Julio Arce, and Jack Jenkins. So, Tom Nolan beat Alex Reyes. That was a really fun fight. Song Kanon beat Ricky Glenn. You saw the massive whelp on Ricky Glenn's head. That was gnarly. Then Jesus Aguilar beat Stuart Nichols. So, yeah, again, great win for Dricus Du Plessis. I thought it showed really what he's about. He's a tough guy, and he's going to go out there and be tougher than you. So him and Strickland can run it back, or he can fight Khamzat Chimaev. Now, Boers, he's very predictable. We know what he's going to do. It's just, can you stop it? And that's kind of been that Russian, Dagestani. He's Chechen, but same approach. How does he fight? How does Khamzat Chimaev fight? How does he shoot takedowns? What's his offense like? All of that in this film study. That's something you don't want to miss.